These guys over here are grinding down the stump where this tree began. When we got here this morning, it was across this entire yard. Investigators spent hours here at this water treatment plant today combing along the fence line and along the edge of the pond where Darius Brown's body was found. Well, that's right, Kim, but that was a decision made by the contractor and not by OSHA. I did get a chance to go on this construction site earlier today. I talked with the vice president of Meja Construction. This sinkhole is on the city's property. It's next to a storm drain just like this one. The woman who lives nearest to that hole says she called the city on Monday and told them about the problem. We understand the dive team has a boat in the river right now. There are officers armed in tactical gear with assault rifles on the bridge right now. I'm going to toss to our mass cam high above our truck where you can actually see a glimpse of the 5th Street Bridge of what's going on here. Investigators in Richmond County tell me they were here in Burke County looking for a man they believe to be involved in selling and using illegal drugs. They had gotten a judge to sign a no-knock search warrant. Essentially, what that means is that police can come to a home. They don't have to announce they're here. They can just go right in. That's what they did at this home. They came to the house. They broke in the back door of this home, but they never made sure they were in the right place.
I mean, it looked like the side of this trailer door was going to be pulled off.
This is where Susan Treat says she was standing in her laundry room just feet from her back door when Richmond and Burke County Sheriff's officers burst through that door looking for a suspected drug dealer. Treat says she thought her family's lives were in danger. She thought the officers were there to help, but she knew that wasn't the case when she says at gunpoint the police ordered her, her pregnant daughter, and her 3-year-old granddaughter to get on the floor.
2 officers standing over top of me with guns in the position like this.
Treat says the officers searched her house for almost an hour. She says cursing and calling her a liar before realizing they had the wrong address. The house they were looking for was 2 doors down.
I've never done nothing wrong. I had 1 speeding ticket in my life.
She says now days after the raid, she's having trouble sleeping and her granddaughter is having nightmares. Even worse, she says, no one has apologized.
I stood here in my own home. This is my safe place. This is my granddaughter's safe place, my daughter's. And all at once, when they bust in, I mean, they take all that away from me.
We went to the Richmond County Sheriff's Office to get an explanation of how officers didn't notice they were going in house 133, not 173. They told us mistakes happen, but we asked if the accidental search broke the law.
I don't know that we broke the law. Obviously, our legal people will have to explain that to us.
You did raid a house with no warrant, though.
We raided a house with a warrant. We did go to the wrong house.
You raided a house with no warrant?
We raided a house, and we did go there with a warrant, and they did raid the wrong house.
Which means you raided a house with no warrant.
Well, I'm not going to say that we did not.
You didn't have a warrant for this house.
Right. That is true.
You went in the door.
That is true. That is true.
Lieutenant Partain says he's sorry for the mistake, and so are the officers who entered the house. He says the case is under review to try and stop this from happening again.
How do you know that these guys ain't going to make a mistake again and do the same thing all over again to someone, if not me, someone else?
I'm praying that Ms. Norris is no longer employed here, and I'm waiting to hear that that's the case.
That wait is going to continue for Jenkins County mother Crystal Griffin. She has 3 children in the Jenkins County school system, 2 at Jenkins County High School. Griffin is just one parent who wants to know why Kimberly Norris is still employed by the school system.
Are there any other personnel matters that needs to come before this board at this time?
Norris's name was the very last thing mentioned at the school board meeting on Monday night, but the board was very brief with what they had to say about the convicted teacher.
We consider the matter with Ms. Norris unfortunate, and it's going to be dealt with appropriately according to the law.
But school board members refused to explain exactly what that meant. They also wouldn't talk about why Kimberly Norris kept her job. She's pled guilty to drug charges. She's pled guilty to beating up a police officer, and she's still being paid by your school system.
It will be dealt with according to law.
But these people want to know when.
We can't say when.
Do you think that you did your job tonight as a member of the school board? Do you think you did what the people who elected you to this office expected you to do?
I have no comment.
Do you feel like Ms. Norris should still be a teacher here at the Jenkins County school system?
I have no comment.
Teachers are supposed to be role models for our children, you know. And, you know, some stuff, it just needs to be handled in the appropriate manner.
Cheryl Boatwright says Kimberly Norris should have lost her job the day she pled guilty. Now she wants answers from the people elected to educate and keep her children safe. You live in Jenkins County?
Yes, I do.
You pay taxes in Jenkins County?
Yes, I do.
School taxes?
Yes, I do.
How do you feel knowing that your taxes go to pay Miss Norris's salary?
And that, very disappointed. Very, very disappointed with that.
Parents say more than just Norris should lose their jobs. They say the person who allowed Norris to return to work after she pled guilty to drug charges should be fired too. People in the community here say that you shouldn't be employed by the system anymore, that the board should fire you because you single-handedly hired this teacher back.
I have no comment whatsoever.
Do you think this has been handled well?
I'm not going to make any comment.
I've been bullied, and I know how much it hurts, and I just want to help other people deal with it.
That's why 11-year-old Nariah Hafner says she started building an anti-bullying website. But this screen grab her mom gave us is all that's left of the site. A site that she says had information on bullying, a place to ask questions, and even had a blog.
At first, my guidance counselor, and my homeroom teacher, and my vice principal were okay with it, and I have no idea what made them change their minds.
Nariah says last week she was called into the office of the Immaculate Conception Catholic School, and her principal forced her to delete the website, a site she says she didn't make at school and had nothing to do with the school. Nariah's mom, Jennifer, says the school didn't tell her about what they had forced her child to do until it was already done.
And she said, "Oh, so you know about it?" And I said, "Absolutely, I know about it. I'm actually helping her with it. You know, she wants to get it going, and I'm going to help her get it going." And she said, "Well, we had some concerns about the website as far as safety."
We tried to go in the school and ask the principal for the school side of this story, but they wouldn't even let us in the door. I called the principal on the phone, and she said she didn't have anything to say about this. She took my number, though, and said someone would call us back. Instead, a spokesperson for the school sent News Channel 6 a statement saying that because of privacy issues, they wouldn't talk about actions taken by the school, an action Jennifer Hafner says was wrong and she feels took away her rights as a parent.
She got permission from her parents, and that was what she needed to do before she even made this website. She knew what she was doing. She knew it was right. But these bullies over here at this school made it seem like she was doing something wrong.
I do feel like I was bullied, and it made me feel like I did something wrong.
Tonight, Hafner says all 4 of her children have been kicked out of this school. When she asked why, the administration told her that she complained too much. Now, we did get a local attorney's insight into this story. He says that because this is a private school, this isn't an issue of anyone's First Amendment rights being broken. Instead, this is an issue between this school and this mother. We're live in downtown Augusta tonight. I'm Brett Buffington, WJBF, News Channel 6.
When the girl hit it over the fence, you know, we were, at first, it was kind of like, oh, well, now that's another run we have to earn back.
This is the Glasscock County Lady Panthers varsity softball team, and they're sitting down together for the first time to talk about a game from earlier this month. A game they did not win, at least that's what the scoreboard said. However, one could argue that what they did on the field meant much more than the final score. One of the players from the opposing team was running the bases after hitting a grand slam when she fell just past first.
She touched the base, she just kind of fell on top of it, and she tried to stand up, but then she collapsed and started crying and screaming.
The rules for high school softball say that in order for the run to count, the batter has to cross home plate. So after falling, the Telfair County player began to crawl.
I was shocked that she was attempting to crawl around the bases in order to get that run.
But she didn't have to crawl very far. It only took a matter of seconds for the entire Glasscock County team to come to the aid of a girl they didn't know and a team they were trying to beat.
They were hollering and saying that the other team, her own team, could not touch her. So I looked at Morgan and I was like, but I think we can touch her.
And that's what the Glasscock County team did.
She kept trying to crawl, and we calmed her down and like, no, it's okay, don't crawl, we're going to touch you.
The entire team, even from the other side of the field, came in, picked up the Telfair County player, and carried her base by base and then to home, putting 4 points on the board for the other team. Every player on the Glasscock County team agrees that when the girl hit the ball over the fence, she earned the run, and they were just helping her get what she deserved, a grand slam, even though she couldn't do it on her own.
We didn't do anything out of the ordinary. We just did the right thing.
And it would make us look bad if we just sat there and watched somebody crawling around the bases.
We were on the field, we played the game, and she needed the help.
And while the Lady Panthers here might not get an award or a trophy for their season this year, what they did for an opposing team on the field is something that will soon not be forgotten here in this small community. We're in Glasscock County, Georgia this afternoon. I'm Brett Buffington, WJBF News Channel 6.